Welcome back to the channel, Rarest Coins. Today's video is going to blow your mind. We're going to talk about a coin that might look completely ordinary at first glance, but has stunned collectors and investors around the world. It's the 1966 Washington quarter. Now I know what you're thinking. It's just a quarter, right? Worth 25 cents. But what if I told you there's one out there that reportedly sold for an unbelievable $1.7 million? Yes, $1.7 million. Let's break down the story of this fascinating coin. We're going to explore the history of the Washington quarter, why 1966 is such a unique year in American coinage, what gives this specific coin its insane value, and how you might be able to tell if you've got one of these rare pieces hiding in your own collection. To start, let's rewind a bit. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The design, by John Flanagan, features a left-facing bust of Washington on the obverse and the eagle with outstretched wings on the reverse. Over the years, the design has gone through some updates, but in 1966, it still retained its classic, original look. Now here's what makes the 1966 quarter special. First of all, this was a transition period in U.S. coinage history. Just a year earlier in 1965, the U.S. Mint made a huge change. They removed all silver from quarters. Prior to that, quarters were made of 90% silver. But starting in 1965, due to rising silver prices and the cost of production, the mint shifted to a copper-nickel-clad composition. So, by 1966, quarters were supposed to be non-silver coins. But here's the twist. There are rumors and reports of a very small number of 1,966 quarters that were accidentally struck on leftover silver planchets. That means someone at the mint either made a mistake or didn't clear out the old silver blanks in time. And because silver quarters weren't supposed to exist in 1966, this makes them incredibly rare and highly valuable. The most famous 1966 quarter is believed to have been one of those accidental silver strikes. But that's not all. The coin that reportedly sold for $1.7 million had more than just a silver composition. It was in nearly flawless condition, graded at an ultra-rare mint state level by a professional grading service. Coins in this condition are called top population coins, meaning they're the finest known examples in existence. Combine that with a mint error or rare composition, and you've got the recipe for a multi-million-dollar coin. Now let's talk about how grading affects value. A normal 1966 Washington quarter in circulated condition is only worth face value, 25 cents. Even in uncirculated condition, most of them are worth just a few bucks. But when you hit the top end of the grading scale, things change fast. A 1966 quarter in MS-67 condition might be worth a few $100s. If it's MS-68 or above, the value can jump to thousands. But a coin that's MS-68 or MS-69 has a rare mint error and is possibly made of silver. That's where the price tag can hit the seven-figure mark. So what should you look for? First, check the weight of the coin. A standard 1966 clad quarter weighs about 5.67 grams. But if you find one that weighs around 6.25 grams, you could be looking at a silver planchet error. That's a huge clue. You'll want to get it tested or appraised immediately. Next, look for other unusual features. Does the coin have sharp, detailed lines and no signs of wear? Is there anything odd about the coloration or luster? Even tiny anomalies can mean big bucks in the world of numismatics. And if you're serious about coins or curious about one you've found, consider sending it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They can confirm if your coin is just a regular quarter or something truly rare and valuable. Now, you might be wondering, how does a coin like this end up being worth $1.7 million? Well, in coin collecting, value is driven by a few things: rarity, condition, demand, and historical significance. The 1966 quarter in question ticks all those boxes. It's from a key transitional year. It may have been struck on the wrong metal. It's in top-grade condition, and it's potentially one of a kind. When those elements come together, collectors are willing to pay insane amounts to own a piece of history. And here's the best part. Rare coins have been discovered by everyday people, not professional collectors, not museum curators. Just regular folks who took the time to look closely at the change in their pockets or the coins in an old jar. That's why I always tell people, check your coins. You never know what you might have. So there you have it, the story of the 1966 Washington quarter. From its role in a pivotal moment in U.S. coinage history to the mystery of silver planchet errors and the legendary $1.7 million sale, this coin is a perfect example of why numismatics is so exciting. A simple coin that most people overlook can turn out to be worth more than a mansion. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos about rare coins, hidden treasures, and the stories that make them priceless. And let us know in the comments, have you ever found a rare coin? Do you have a 1966 quarter in your collection? Your next big discovery could be closer than you think. Until next time, keep searching and happy collecting. Would you like a version with visual cues or a follow-up script for another coin? Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Rarest Coins. Today we're taking a closer look at a coin that most people overlook. It's one you've probably seen dozens of times, maybe even have a few lying around in your house right now. I'm talking about the 1978 Washington quarter. A coin that for most of us is just another piece of pocket change. But here's the twist. One version of this seemingly ordinary coin has reportedly sold for an astonishing $1.5 million. That's right, a 25-cent coin that turned out to be worth more than a luxury car, more than some homes, and more than most people will ever hold in cash at one time. So what makes the 1978 Washington quarter so special? Why would a coin from a common year suddenly skyrocket in value? And how can you tell if you might be sitting on one of these incredibly rare pieces without even knowing it? Let's break it all down. First, let's talk a little bit about the history. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington. It features a portrait of Washington on the front, also known as the obverse, and an eagle with outstretched wings on the back, or the reverse. This design, created by John Flanagan, remained largely unchanged all the way through 1998, just before the state quarters program began. That means the 1978 quarter is part of the final generation of what collectors call the classic Washington quarters. Now, the 1978 quarter was produced in huge numbers. Over 500 million of them were struck that year. The Philadelphia Mint made over 521 million, and the Denver Mint added another 287 million. So when it comes to circulation, the 1978 quarter is anything but rare. You can still find it in pocket change, coin rolls, or old coffee cans full of coins. On the surface, it's one of the most common coins in circulation from that decade. So the big question is, how does a coin like this become worth $1.5 million? It all comes down to rarity, condition, and a little bit of mystery. There are a few things that can cause a common coin to suddenly become a superstar in the world of numismatics. And the 1978 quarter that hit the $1 million mark is the perfect example of this. Let's start with condition. Coins are graded on a 70-point scale, with 70 being a perfect, flawless example. Most quarters from 1978 that you'll find in circulation today are well-worn and scratched. They've been through decades of use. But a small number of uncirculated coins have survived in mint state condition, and fewer still have been graded at the very top of the scale. If a coin is the highest known grade for its year and mint mark, and especially if it's the only one in existence at that grade, collectors will pay a premium. Sometimes an insane premium. The 1978 quarter that reportedly sold for $1.5 million was believed to be a perfect specimen. Mint state 68 or higher, with full luster, no marks, and razor-sharp detail. But the condition alone wasn't the only factor. What really drove up the price was a rare and dramatic mint error. Let's talk about errors for a moment. Error coins are some of the most valuable coins on the market. These include off-center strikes, double dies, coins struck on the wrong planchet, and other manufacturing mistakes that somehow slipped through the cracks at the mint. In the case of the $1 million 1978 quarter, it's believed that the coin was struck on a silver planchet instead of the standard copper-nickel clad. That's a big deal, because silver quarters were officially phased out after 1964. No quarters were supposed to contain silver after that year. So how could a silver quarter show up in 1978? The most likely explanation is that a leftover silver blank somehow made its way back into the system and was used by mistake during a production run. This is what collectors call a transitional error. It's extremely rare, and when paired with a flawless condition, it can create a coin that's literally one of a kind. There's also another factor at play. The story. Collectors love a good story, and this coin had it all. A mystery metal, a perfect grade, a date where no silver coins should exist. That kind of narrative fuels bidding wars at auctions. People are not just buying the coin. They're buying a piece of numismatic history. Now here's the exciting part. Rare coins have been found by everyday people, not experts, not dealers, just regular folks who took a closer look at what they had. So if you have a 1978 quarter, don't ignore it. Examine it closely. Check the weight. A standard copper-nickel quarter weighs about 5.67 grams. A silver one would weigh closer to 6.25 grams. You can use a digital scale to test this at home. Also check the edge of the coin. A clad coin shows a visible copper layer. A silver coin has a solid silver edge with no copper color. Look at the details. Is the strike unusually sharp? Are there doubling effects on the lettering or numbers? Any visible errors? If anything seems out of place, don't spin that coin. Put it aside. And if you're serious about it, have it professionally graded by a trusted service like PCGS or NGC. A professional grade and certification can make all the difference between a coin worth $1 and one worth a fortune. At the end of the day, most 1978 quarters are worth face value. Some might fetch a few bucks if they're in excellent condition. But one coin, with the right combination of grade, error, and mystery, became a collector's dream and sold for $1.5 million. It's a reminder that in the world of coin collecting, lightning can strike, even in the most unexpected places. So the next time you get change at the store or open that old coin jar at the back of the closet, take a moment. Look closely, because the coin that changes your life might already be in your hand. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a chance to learn about rare coins, historic treasures, and the stories behind them. And let us know in the comments, have you ever found a rare quarter? Do you have a 1978 coin in your collection? Your story might be the next great discovery. Until next time, keep collecting, keep searching, and always check your change. Would you like help turning this into a storyboard, visual guide, or audio narration script? I can help build a full content plan around it. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into a fascinating piece of modern American coinage that might just change the way you look at the change in your pocket. We're talking about the 1987 D. Washington quarter. Now on the surface, this coin seems ordinary. It's a coin millions of people have handled, spent, and saved without giving it a second thought. But believe it or not, there's one version of this coin that reportedly sold for a jaw-dropping $1.4 million. Yes, a $0.25, worth more than an exotic car or a luxury home. So what makes the 1987 D quarter so special? What could possibly make a 25-cent coin from the late 1980s fetch that kind of money? In this video, we're going to explore the full history of the 1987 D. Washington quarter, why it's mostly common but occasionally extremely rare, what collectors are looking for, and how to tell if you might be holding on to a treasure without even knowing it. Let's start with the basics. The Washington quarter has been around since 1932. It was originally created to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth and featured a classic portrait of Washington on the front, or obverse, with the American eagle on the reverse. This design remained relatively unchanged for decades. The coin we're focusing on today, the 1987 D. Washington quarter, was minted in Denver. That's what the D stands for. In that year alone, over 655 million quarters were produced at the Denver Mint. That's right, more than 500 million. So on the surface, this coin is one of the most common you'll find from the 1980s. Now you might be asking, if it's so common, how can any 1987 D quarter be worth millions? This is where it gets interesting. The world of coin collecting is full of surprises. A coin's value isn't always about how old it is or how many were made. Sometimes it's about condition. Sometimes it's about errors. And every once in a while, a perfect storm of rarity, mystery, and collector demand can send the value of a coin through the roof. The 1987 D quarter that reportedly sold for $1.4 million is believed to be one of the most flawless and rare error coins ever discovered from that year. It wasn't your average coin. It was a specimen of unmatched quality, combined with a mint error so rare that no other examples like it have been confirmed. So what kind of error could possibly cause this? Let's talk about a few possibilities. There are a handful of errors that can drastically increase a coin's value. Some of the most valuable quarters have been struck on the wrong metal planchet, like a quarter struck on a nickel or even a silver planchet left over from previous decades. Others have dramatic double strikes, off-center errors, or die breaks that create unique shapes and textures on the coin's surface. In the case of the $1,000,000 1987 D quarter, it's believed the coin was either struck on a transitional planchet or featured a combination of errors, possibly a wrong metal, a sharp double die, and near-perfect condition all rolled into one. Add to that the fact that it may be a population 1 coin, meaning it's the only one of its kind known to exist, and the sky becomes the limit when it hits the auction block. Let's talk about grading for a moment. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70. The higher the number, the closer the coin is to perfect condition. A coin graded MS-60 is in mint state but may have visible flaws. An MS-65 is a high-grade coin with minimal marks. When you get to MS-67, MS-68, or even MS-69, you're talking about coins that are virtually perfect under magnification. And if your coin is the only one at that grade or higher, its value jumps exponentially. For the average 1987 D quarter, you're looking at face value if it's been circulated. Maybe $1 or $2 in uncirculated condition. But if you happen to own one in pristine condition with a recognized error, your coin could be worth hundreds, thousands, or possibly more. So what should you look for? Start by inspecting the coin for anything out of the ordinary. Check the weight. A standard 1987 D quarter should weigh around 5.67 grams. If it weighs significantly more or less, it could be struck on the wrong planchet. Look closely at the date, the mint mark, the lettering, and the fine details. Use a magnifying glass. Check for doubling on the letters or numbers. Check for odd colors or a strange metallic sheen. If you notice anything unusual, set that coin aside. And most importantly, don't try to clean it. Cleaning a coin can ruin its surface and drop its value instantly. Instead, send it to a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. These experts can authenticate the coin, grade its condition, and determine if you've found something special. It's important to remember that not every 1987 D quarter is worth a fortune. Most of them are still just pocket change. But the story of the $1,000,000 specimen reminds us that even in a sea of common coins, the rare and extraordinary can still be found. And sometimes, that treasure is hiding in plain sight. So keep an eye on your change. Go through your old coin jars. Ask your relatives if they have any old coins stashed away. Because who knows, your next trip to the store or your next coin roll could uncover a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare and valuable coins, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell icon so you never miss a story that could lead you to your own hidden fortune. And let us know in the comments, have you ever found a rare coin? Do you have a 1987 D quarter? Your story might just be the next big headline. Until next time, stay curious, keep collecting, and always check your change. Would you like a shorter version for TikTok or YouTube Shorts? Or should I help you design a visual storyboard for editing this into a polished video? Welcome back to the channel, Rarest Coins. Today we're diving into one of the most fascinating stories in U.S. coin collecting history. We're talking about a seemingly ordinary coin, something you might have in your pocket right now, the 1979 D Washington quarter dollar. But don't be fooled by how common it looks. There's one version of this coin that reportedly sold for an incredible $1.3 million. That's right, $1.3 million for a 25-cent piece. So let's break down exactly what makes the 1979 D quarter so interesting. We'll go over its history, what to look for, and how to tell if you might have one of these extremely rare and valuable coins. First off, let's talk history. The Washington quarter has been a part of American coinage since 1932. Originally introduced to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The design features Washington's bust on the obverse, created by sculptor John Flanagan, and has remained largely unchanged for decades. Now, the year 1979 wasn't a particularly unusual year in terms of minting. The U.S. Mint produced millions of these coins. In fact, over 489 million were struck at the Denver Mint alone, which is where the 1979 D gets its D. Mint mark from .so. How does a coin from such a common year become worth over $1 million? Well, here's where it gets interesting. When we talk about coins that are worth serious money, we're usually talking about very specific things, minting errors, extremely high grades, or incredibly rare variations that were struck by mistake or in tiny numbers. The 1979 D quarter that reportedly sold for $1.3 million fits that profile. It wasn't just any 1979 D coin. It was a minting anomaly. A coin that combined rarity, historical interest, and near-perfect condition. Let's break that down. First, there are error coins. These are coins that have something wrong during the minting process, like double dies, off-center strikes, or wrong planchet errors. In the case of the $1,000,000 1979 D quarter, the exact details of the error haven't been publicly disclosed, which leads many collectors to speculate. Some believe it may have been struck on a silver planchet, a leftover from the 1960s or early 70s. Others think it may have had an extreme die error that made it a true one-of-a-kind. Then there's the grade of the coin. Grading is all about the coin's condition. A coin graded MS-67 or MS-68 is near perfect, with sharp details, original luster, and almost no marks or wear. If the $1,000,000 1979 D was in a grade that high, that alone could make it extremely valuable, especially if it's the highest graded example known to exist. Collectors go crazy for what's called a Population 1 coin, meaning it's the only one known in that grade. But let's be clear, the average 1979 D quarter isn't worth much more than face value. In circulated condition, it's still just 25 cents. Even in mint state, a typical one might be worth a few dollars to maybe $30 or $40 if it's in a really nice MS-65 grade. But we're not talking about typical here. We're talking about the unicorn, the one that ticks all the boxes, a rare error, in near-perfect condition, with a unique history that makes it worth more than a luxury car or even a house. So what can you do? Here's the good news. Rare coins are found all the time by people who had no idea what they were holding. Check your change. Look through your old coin jars. If you find a 1979 D quarter, give it a good look. Check for anything unusual. Does it have doubling on the letters or numbers? Is the image off-center? Does it look like it's made of a different metal? If anything seems off, don't spend it. Have it evaluated by a professional grader or a trusted coin dealer. And if you really think you've got something special, consider sending it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. These companies will professionally assess your coin and give it an official grade and certification, which can massively increase its market value if it's something rare. In the world of coin collecting, stories like this are what keep the passion alive. A regular person discovering a fortune in pocket change. It sounds like a dream, but it happens. And that's why you should always pay attention to the coins you handle every day, because one of them might just be a hidden treasure. So there you have it. The story of the 1979 D Washington quarter, a common coin with an uncommon twist. From its origins in the Denver Mint to the mysterious $1,000,000 specimen, this coin proves that sometimes the most ordinary objects can be worth extraordinary amounts of money. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments if you've ever found a rare coin or have a 1979 quarter in your collection. Who knows? You just might be sitting on a fortune. Until next time, happy collecting. Would you like a version tailored for a shorter, 2 to 3 minute video or a script with visuals and timestamps for editing?